Sing me a song or something, LG. I need a little love in my life.
You sing a song about brotherland, sing the song about our life. Well, here we are. We're back on Talking Shop. We survived the holidays.
Is that the end of the song?
Yeah, I didn't have much in the tank on that one.
So how come when we record tonight at 8:09 p.m., our energy is just wiped,
just defunct,
Allow us to explain. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Look at this. I got a great Talking Shop outfit on here. I got this purple robe here with a hood on it, a Christmas robe. Look like the maniac Mark Lewin as the Purple Haze hanging out with Kevin Sullivan doing a ritual or something. And underneath of that, I got my Vanguard shirt on, personalized.
Oh, hello, the Vanguard.
Vanguard shirt. Hello, Vanguard.
The Vanguard people from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
From Milwaukee.
I got my Bitcoin shirt on my buddy Bob here. Of course,
that's a hot shirt right there. That is
and just like in machine gun fashion, I wore it one time, and of course, it's beyond. It got stuff all over it. Why wouldn't it?
That's right.
And of course, my action figure's back here.
That's our new merch shirt. Buy the dip.
My action figure back here, flat on my back. It's per usual.
Well, speaking of flat on your back, how is your rehab? You're not flat on your back. How do you feel?
Yeah, rehab is going good. I'm beyond ahead of schedule. Unbelievable. Awesome. Unbelievable. That's the thing is I'm Superman. Shawn Michaels said one time they asked Shawn Michaels in that shoot interview, how do you have great matches all the time? And he said, I'm effing Superman.
I'm effing Superman. There you have it, folks.
And now that you can catch Talking Shop on YouTube all the time now. We've had a verified YouTube channel for a long time because let's not
27 years, but
we're big. We are big wrestling stars, So
yeah,
we have all these assets.
We have all these things that we just need to get. We're just putting them to use now. It's good.
Well, now we got to look good because it's like being on TV all the time because people watch YouTube more than they watch television. I'm
going to wear this robe and drink out of this gigantic Talking Shop Stanley Cup, no matter what we do.
It's so Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, baby.
We hope
I bet we have a ton of emails since we've got a ton. We've got a ton of emails. Well, you know what? This week we're going to do a deep dive, guys. We've been putting it off. It's a brand new year. This week it's the first ever official deep dive. We're going to deep dive into some emails.
We're going to deep dive into some serious emails. I've got a couple right off the bat that I have to read, but I have to go to this first one.
Okay.
First off, guys, Talking Shop. TALKNSHOP, goodbrothers@gmail.com. Talking Shop, goodbrothers@gmail.com. Send us an email.
Drop us a line.
Have a take. Don't let it suck. If you can record an audio, go to the audio. Send it to me. We will play it. I've got a couple of those that will be played here live.
Any LG putovers will be played live.
All LG putovers. All LG putovers will be put on. LG.
I'll be pushing for those.
This is Thursday morning. Did you check out WWE on Netflix?
Well, I have
bits and pieces of it.
I have a small baby.
Oh,
so he is 8 months old, and I did not get to watch the show in its entirety. I saw a lot of the show through clips on social media when I was with Sid Bibi. And then I put it on in my gym on Tuesday and watched some of it early in the morning when I was working out. Man, unbelievable, huh?
You can't say WWE ain't the absolute biggest show on earth, Daddy.
I mean, you can literally feel professional wrestling just coming and arriving and taking over pop culture right now. I think it's great.
And what an incredible building. The Intuit Dome, which was the
first time ever.
The LA Clippers new arena. I got to say, too,
highest paid WWE arena gate in history. That means people want to go because you're spending the money to go.
There was a big missed opportunity, though, because you can say anything. You can say anything you want about.
No, I agree with that.
Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows and the Good Brothers, but you cannot say that we ain't over in LA because
LA loves the boys. What?
I can promise you, you put us in LA or New York City, it's going to be something that It's gonna be a reaction that sometimes people ain't gonna like because it's gonna be so good.
Let's move on to the emails.
It's like it's a guaranteed reaction.
It is a guaranteed reaction
because we've built our fan base. Hey, send us an email, talking shop, goodbrothers@gmail.com. We appreciate the talking shop world. Hope you have a great new year. Hope you had a beautiful Christmas.
Oh, Christmas was great.
Me and Emilio did a little deep dive. I think he dropped it on whatever day he dropped it. Yeah. I never know. You never know with Emilio because he's doing his breath work half the time.
He's doing a lot of breath work. And anyway.
Stuff like that. Stuff like that. This is from one of the brothers. This is a great email. Right. Guys, we have so many emails. We have to get straight to them. Hi, Hoots.
Hello, Hoots.
Please don't disclose my name from this email. Just call me Tony. Gotcha.
All right, Tony. Gotcha.
This is from Tony. You boys are the boys.
Yes.
I originally was a wrestling fan. I am from Sydney, Australia.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm 1990 born, man. My earliest memory of wrestling was tag team wrestling of the Dudley Boys, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian in the 99 2000s.
Nice.
My younger brother and I beat the effing SHIT out of each other.
Nice.
And then became a tag team to beat the SHIT out of our cousins, as we thought at the time, as young men watching the Attitude Era, that all tag teams are brothers and must beat other brother tag teams.
That's right.
I fell out of love with professional wrestling, though, in about 2005. Yeah. Because the WWE, the only wrestling on TV in Australia, was only on pay TV, cable for you Yankees.
Oh, jeez.
In 2010, this story is great. This is a great email. In 2010, I joined the Australian Navy.
Oh, sweet.
I was stationed in Japan, and I was introduced to New Japan Pro Wrestling mid-2013, thanks to a Japanese officer, parentheses, my future brother-in-law. Wow. This is going. Wow. And I fell in love with, the Bullet Club. I brought my brother over to Japan to watch the 2013 World Tag League Final, December 2013 in Nagoya, parentheses, I think. Yes, it was Nagoya.
Amazing.
And we effing had an awesome time watching the show, drinking around the prefecture. Prefecture means state, for example.
Yep. The community.
Drinking around the prefecture and eating Japanese food.
Oh, that sounds nice.
The vibe that you, Gallows and Anderson, both put off was so effing in line with us that we were too sweeting all night long, baby. Too sweet. We felt like we were kids again, talking about how Doc and Karl made us feel like badass mother truckers being Bullet Club fans in bars all over the city that night. 10 cozy are little pieces of crap. Kayfabe that. Please don't have them beat me up. We were cheering our asses off. We decided that night at a bar after that you guys and the Bullet Club were the best ever. And we felt that pro wrestling spark again.
Love it. That's a great email.
That was the last time I saw my brother alive.
Oh.
2 months later, he died in a car accident in Australia.
Damn.
And it was heavy. Yeah. But every time I listen to your guys' podcast, and I'm not repentant on the alcohol yet, but every time I listen to your podcast, I feel closer to my baby brother.
Oh,
thank you. You are good men, great entertainers, and better fathers. The best tag team ever. I truly love all of your work. Be well. God bless. Please never stop this podcast. Tony from Australia. LG, where does that hit you?
Oh my God, I'm just covered in cold chills beneath this warm robe right now. That's unbelievable. You took so many turns. I mean, it started out as a good email, but then it got great and then it went beyond. What an unbelievable story. And the tie-in as well. Tony, thank you so much for sharing that. That's really cool. I mean, man, I'm a little bit of a loss for words, and that's rare.
That will send chills down your body.
It
That's the
sure
thing
will.
is, I think sometimes, thank you for that email, buddy.
Yes,
I'm sorry you lost
so much. Yeah.
I'm
so
sorry you
sorry,
lost your brother, but I'm also like extremely happy we were able to give you a memory, especially of that memory, which was me and Gallows' first tour tour together.
The finale of our first tour and our tag league win in 13 to take us to the Tokyo Dome. That's right.
Yeah, and dude, I can actually, and as I was reading that email, as I'm reading the email, I can see it. I can see like you guys seeing us in the ring. It was probably at the very least one of our most fun times
for sure
that we've ever had. Where there's
had together.
I mean, there's no handcuffs on us. There's no eggshells being walked on. There's no asking if we thought that was good or asking if someone thought it was good. Like we knew it was good. We didn't care what anybody thought.
No, we sure did.
And we knew that, and we just knew that what we were doing was great, and and we were having fun, and you could tell that we were having fun.
That's the best. That's at its purest form the best that you.
And that's what makes
of a connection between a fan and a performer.
That's where you almost can feel like pro wrestling can be real at times, because sometimes 100%. In the middle in that moment when we're feeling it and where you can truly tell that we are enjoying ourselves.
Yeah, 100%.
Which it can feed off onto you guys. And, and again, that also shows us sometimes the podcast, we've started and stopped it. And sometimes it gets put off or it doesn't get put off, or we sometimes maybe we don't do it or whatever. We don't think anybody cares. I think that's a great email to help us realize and remember that there are people that love what we do here and have done for the better part of a decade, being some of the OG podcasters of all time.
Longer. Yeah, exactly. We're in 2025, baby. That was amazing. All the way around. And that's such, what a great connection, what a great memory. And those are things that, you'll never forget that, but we never will either. So that's a really cool fan wrestler connection if you can have it. Great email. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for sharing that.
I appreciate that.
Yep. And I will say this. We're not doing the podcast because we don't feel like it ever again.
No.
We have these busy lives where we have to schedule when we can do it. So maybe it's at 5 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night, but we're doing our best to knock them out of the park for you guys. And we're going to continue to do so.
Yeah. I think when we first started the podcast 10, 11 years ago, we wanted to do it because it was fun to do. Mm-hmm. And I think during the COVID era, we felt like we were just doing it to do it because mentally, we weren't there.
Yeah.
We were checked out with where we a lot of stuff was going on during that time.
A lot of stuff.
This rendition, the repented. It was like, hey, we could do a deep dive on 2020, 2021, 2022. Just absolutely not today. That might be a 27 parter.
I don't know what the problem is. I was having a great time. Anyway, next email.
I might start drinking again if we do that. Oh, shit. I appreciate you. Thank you for the email, Tony. Now, this one right here, this is our first ever audio. Now, let me know if you can hear this, LG. This is from Elmer.
State of the art.
And he says,
WWF Hall of Famer, not really. But
he says, Reptile is my father, I think.
Hello, brother Carl and brother Carlos. My name is Jose. But around the fans, you can call me Lagarto or Panther. You see, I'm contacting you today because I was wondering if you guys could point me in the right direction to Reptile, because I have reason to believe that he may be my father. You see, one time, my mother was going to give me a deep dive, but she said not today. But last I heard, Reptile was in Puerto Rico, so I took it upon myself to go to the island, and I found Carlos Colon. It kept me up pretty good. Something about Nuremberg. I'm not too sure what that meant. But I hope to hear from you soon, good brothers. I hope you're all doing well. I will talk to you later. Lagarto out.
Woo. That was unreal. We're gonna have to text. We're gonna have to get in touch with Reptile while we're still live here to see if we can get a response for Elmer. You know what Elmer sounds like? He sounds like Napoleon Dynamite's best friend.
Well, there's so much there to even unpack. Like, and again, for the people that just a quick maybe a quick reminder of who Reptile is. Reptile, the original Reptile is a little luchador that I met in Los Angeles, California. I thought we were, as close as friends could possibly be. He was just a little fella that would do lucha. I saw him leaving a show one day in front of like 10 people, and I said, "Goodbye, Reptile." And he came over to me very angry. He looked at me very stern, and he looked at me and said, "Chad, please, in front of the fans," and allow me to repeat, there was no fans. In front of the fans, please, do not call me Reptile. Call me Juan or Panther. And I said, "Sorry, Panther." And as he walked away, I just remember thinking, who is Juan? I never knew your name was Juan, if it is. And what's the Panther thing? Is that the Reptile? Maybe, I don't know. A
reptile is not a panther. I don't know. I've been wondering about this for 12 years since I first heard the story.
So then we take Talk is Shop onto Talk is Jericho.
Right.
And we tell Chris Jericho the Reptile story.
About Reptile.
And of course, we turn it into just the most insane thing ever. And then Gallows calls. We actually have Primo Colon on the podcast. Gallows calls Carlos Colon, the promoter in Puerto Rico, as Reptile.
Reptile killed him. Reptile called Carlos Colon to ask if he could get some WWC bookings. I was just encouraging him.
There's just so much to it there. And I think when he brought up
Carlos Colon in the middle of the night to Portugal.
And I think it must have been Nuremberg, Germany, I believe is what it was.
Nuremberg, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the very first ever audio.
I'm going to try to get Reptile on the horn for Uncle Elmer before the end of the cast.
Yeah, I think you should. The subject is Skullet Mania from Nick.
Hello, Nick.
Hello, good brothers. Given that Gallows was once a member of the Skullet tribe back in his Festus days, I was curious.
Yeah.
If he has a Mount Rushmore of wrestling skullets. No deep dive needed. That'll be for another time. Brother me softly. Nick in Maine. Thank you, Nick.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's not going to be a deep dive, but the Skullet tribe, Skulletomania is a real thing. I will say this. I had probably one of the greatest, most extensive collections of like bandanas, painter caps, beanies, trucker hats, assorted head ornaments of every shape and size the entire time that I was a Skullet maniac. But I mean, you got to look at the greats when you look at the Skullet wrestlers like Friar Ferguson. You've got to look at Evad Sullivan, nephew of Kevin. Thought he was the nephew of the great Hulk Hogan, also a skulleted wrestler, the Macho Man Randy Savage. I mean, these guys are all on par with one another with star quality and skullet level. No one can deny it.
So do you have a is that your Skullet Mount Rushmore?
Yeah.
So
Evad Sullivan,
okay,
aka the Equalizer.
Yeah.
Friar Ferguson.
You're dressed like Kevin Sullivan right now, kind of.
That's what I said. You weren't paying attention in the beginning. I look like the Taskmaster and his protege, the Purple Haze, Mean Mark Lewin, who wore actually a purple hooded robe. Sullivan also in a hooded robe, and I got no credit for it. I got no laugh, no wrestling, whatever, nothing.
Well, sometimes
it's unbelievable.
Sometimes you bring up these names that are just
and you are not listening.
Just a little obscure to me, and sometimes I'm so checked out. I got to remember we've heard each other's voices so much that sometimes we know how to drown each other.
Well, I put the robe on and I looked in the mirror in my bedroom before I came down to the studio here, and I go, I look like Maniac Mark Lewin, and I thought I'm going to say that, and then I thought I bet about maybe 0.1% of our listeners will have any clue who the Purple Haze Mark Lewin was. So
I hope
it's even like, I think Mark Lewin's run like ended in like 1980 or the late 70s or something. So it was before I was even born. But
well, I hope
I was such a wrestling nerd and enthusiast and old magazine collector as a kid. I knew I looked like him.
Well, hold on one second here. Trying to find my I just switched up the
audio.
No. Here we go. Thank you for that. So I was growing my hair out as since I'm off and I'm injured, I was growing my hair out again. And I said I'm going to grow a skullet to my 13-year-old, and he laughed so hard. And because I don't think he'd ever heard the word skullet.
Skullet, yeah, it's not a trendy term for sure. Do you remember?
Talk to me.
Do you remember watching WCW when we were growing up? This is a more modern for fans that are more close to our age group. Okay, so you remember WCW, and of course you had your favorites in WCW. Do you remember Kwee-Wee?
Well, of course.
Kwee-Wee, aka Alan Funk. He's a Georgia guy, nice guy. I saw him at a charity softball game over the summer. But Kwee-Wee had the same thing. He had, he was starting to lose the hair, and they had him spike his straight up for his Kwee-Wee gimmick. And it was kind of a seeing that, and then Damian Demento, this guy, he had an incredible skullet too. That was kind of where I got my freaking deacon. Like, if I have to have a skullet, I got to make it a crazy wild skullet, because you can't just be skulleted and be proud of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to. So yeah, exactly.
They wouldn't let me cut it.
I was almost ready to try the reverse mohawk, like Hawk from Road Warriors.
And I think every guy that goes bald are like, well, I only have, as a wrestler, especially, I got 2 hair choices. I got 3 hair choices. Now these are wild. The bald. There's a lot of bald guys, bald bearded guys, kind of our thing. But then you can do the Road Warrior Hawk, or the only other thing you can do, which is equally or more ridiculous, is the remember Reno from WCW?
Yes.
Shaved bald head, grows the ponytail out of the back. And then but the Reno one, I always thought, like, if I ever did pull off the Hawk, you can cover it with a hat. You got the Reno going, you're just a bald dude with a ponytail hanging out. You got to walk through life. So kudos to Reno. Is what I'm saying.
I shaved my head recently, and I had it looking good. And my oldest son came down and goes, "Thank you, Dad. Thank you." I couldn't take that.
Oh my God.
I said, "Relax, boy.
Relax." When it comes in though, too, like when I get home, like on a Saturday per se, and I don't shave it on Saturday, and then it's like Sunday night, and I go to bed and I get up Monday morning and I go, "Oof, come on."
Yeah. Well, The Rock started off Netflix live right after Triple H. Actually, Triple H started off Netflix,
with the promo, awesome promo.
In Triple A, of course, he's one of the greatest promos of all time, right?
Yeah, right.
And do you remember talking with Triple H one time? We had a lot of conversations with Triple H, but this one time, I don't know how we started talking about this. He had just shaved his head or something. And I said, "I don't know, Hunter, man. I think you should, you got to grow your hair out." And he said, it's just so much easier to just have it like this. And he goes, "But I will say, most people say that they don't have to shave their head." I was like, "I truly don't think I have to shave my head, because look, you can see that I'm not balding." And he pointed to the back of his head, and it was just to have that confidence that he had. And I just literally go, "Yes, Hunter, you don't have to shave your head. You do not have a bald spot like we do."
So people who don't have the bald spot and aren't a true skullet, if they show their true colors, they can have the 5 o'clock shadow, because they don't get what we call the grandpa hair, where you can see the bald spot, but the thing going around it. You know what I mean? They can have like a real shaved head. I guess if you're that busy of a guy, it's a lot easier, but
it's got, because he's not going
to. I missed out on having long hair. I feel like I'd have it down just in my butt crack.
Subject number 1: Sour Boy Mark pays tribute to your theme song. So Sour Boy has not got tons and tons of run on Talking Shop, because he didn't really make a lot of hey, do your own deep dive on Sour Boy.
Sour Boy was around during the Talking Shop years where you weren't as invested.
He didn't understand what was going on. What's up, good brothers? Medium time listener. This is a big fan of the show.
Medium time listener.
He's kind of turned into a friend, but we've never really seen each other. But I kind of like him. I like him a lot, actually. Him and his wife are great.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
I know. Medium time listener, second time emailer. I'll keep this short and sweet, like my hot Chicana lady Ren.
Okay, now I know you're talking about.
Capital LOL self pop. Thank you.
Pop me.
I really dig your theme music, and my music producer, alter ego, the Rock Man, decided to put together a record mix and master of a cover foot. Here is the link. I want any money. I wouldn't want any money for it at all if you decided to use any of these audio files in the folder. I hope you hoots enjoy this as much as I enjoyed making it. The original song rules. I have ghost stories and all of that as well, but I'm afraid that's a deep dive for another time. Much love from Fresno, California. Daniel, he's at VXDEDVX Dominguez. Let me see if we can get this song playing here.
See if we can get it. See if we can pull that son of a gun up, would you?
You know how it goes. You never know. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Let's just see here.
I just got a really funny text message while on the air that I'm going to forward to you.
Oh well, I like that.
Don't read it on the air.
I won't read that one on the air.
Yeah, leave that one off the air. Go ahead and play the song. Are we just killing some time while you try to figure out how to play the show? All
right, listen. We're not playing.
Hear me tell us.
We're not playing that. I can't figure it out. I am going to play it though. I've got it on a different MP. I'll play it, Daniel. I appreciate it. I loved it. The sound of it is badass. I'm going to send it to Emilio and actually get it going on the front of the pod, and you'll probably hear it on this front of the pod or not. We'll see. Maybe a deep dive for another day. But I did listen to it. I listened to that when you sent me the file on Instagram.
Oh, I got to hear it.
I
did hear it.
You heard it. It's badass.
I heard it. Yeah, it's badass. I did hear it. It's just been feels like 2 weeks ago or something now. Yeah, I don't know.
It's badass. But the people that haven't heard it are thinking, what are you guys talking about?
I'm jamming to it in the truck. My own music.
Subject is Tag Team Noah's Ark. Hey, Hoots, all the way from the UK.
Hey, baby.
Long-time listener first. First. I just wanted to reach out and say how good it has been to hear from you again, and congratulations on the 12 months of sobriety, Machine Gun. I know your mailbag is overflowing like Doc's sweet iced teas, so by the time you read this, I should be 10 years clean, February the 24th, but who's counting? Oh, wow. So I got it to you before the 10 years. I'd like to encourage you to do research Doggerland, which has always fascinated me. LG, if you want to look that up, I started reading the rest of it.
Is it just D-O-G?
Doggerland?
Exactly how it's. My God, before I even got anything out, Doggerland, Doggerland definition, Doggerland map. There's a lot to
so probably worth a deep dive, just not today. But in short, there was a landmass connecting the east coast of England with the mainland Europe and Scandinavia until 8,000 years ago, but which is now underwater.
I didn't know this was called Doggerland. I've heard this.
It got me thinking about all the cryptids lost down there. I know it was home to mammoths and bears and maybe an ark or two.
Wow.
Any hoot. Keep up the good work. And can I get a too sweet for my youngest JJ? Too sweet, JJ. Everyone talks about the wrestling Mount Rushmore, but who would be on your wrestling Noah's Ark? All the best tag teams should be on there. And
you got to bring two of each, so it's all tag teams actually. That's a great point.
Have the Good Brothers in there, even if those damn sheets don't agree. Stay safe and enjoy Christmas with your massive families. Godspeed on the recovery, Machine Gun Doc. Keep it crispy. Much love, Ian. Is it Ian or Ian?
I think it's Ian.
Shuttleworth, Bolton,
Ian
UK.
Thank you. Great email. Well, I mean,
hold on. He says if you got money, put it in ADA, NVIDIA, and XRP.
I've got a little bit in all three of those, brother. Thank you.
Good point. I appreciate
that.
Point. Great email.
Stock tip of the week by Ian, by the way. So that's a great point nobody's ever made before. Noah's Ark of pro wrestling would have to just be all tag teams, 100%, and you have to bring one of each. That's my rule. And no one's ever booked a Noah's Ark tag team cup. I'll tell you what's coming to Lariato Pro this spring.
Yeah, we need that. We actually do. I actually do want to have a theologian on here to just talk about
tag teams.
Yeah, or the legitimacy of Noah's Ark.
We should get longtime fan Pastor Hoot on here to talk about the tag teams that should be allowed on Noah's Ark, because he could give us a divine connection and tell us, really who he thinks needs to go.
Well, yes.
Yes.
I'll say this, since we're halfway through, I'm going to have myself a Bud Zero.
Well, that's real nice. I'm 1 hour I'm 1 hour and 22 minutes until I hit 72 hours in this water fast, and I'm going to go upstairs and cook a gigantic 1.5 pound steak. But when you fast like that, I'll probably only be able to do a third of it. But
yeah, that's my fast break is a Bud Zero, and how times have changed, because before a fast break of a Bud Light used to be a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different than a Bud Zero for after a long fast.
Hey, do you like my pink Good Brothers hat?
I can't see what the hat says. I can just see you got a pink hoodie and a pink hat on.
Yeah, but it's my Good Brothers hat. It's just because my light is so crispy you can't see it.
Oh, so is your hat really pink? It's not.
It is. It's pink and white. It's the Good Brother hat that we have. It's our Good Brother hat.
I haven't seen one of those pink ones in forever. I have some.
Yeah, I didn't realize I had it. Talking Shop, goodbrothers@gmail.com. Don't forget, send us emails. Road Mics, thank you. MaxEffortMuscle.com. Come go buy a stack, would you? I'm telling you, the I Want Abs contest with Corey Gregory at Corey Gregory. Look up Max Effort Muscle. Look up Corey Gregory. He has some of the greatest diets.
Yep.
The greatest cheat codes, which is lunging, which is some of the smartest workouts, smartest fasting ideas you'll possibly get. Go to his app, the Corey G app. Go to Max Effort Muscle for supplements. Here is the subject: a story from Bruce Zimmerman. What's up, Hoots? I have a tale to tell you. Back in 1899, I think he meant 1999.
No, he meant
1999, right before 2000. There was a lot of hype.
101 years before.
About the world ending, but this is a ghost story. I'm trying to get you to remember the 1999. Okay. So I was sitting in my bed one night and reading a book. And I heard a weird sound from under my bed. I checked. It was nothing, or so I thought. I heard a loud crash from downstairs where I saw a man named Larry Michaels, who was identified by police.
Whoa, what?
This was when I was staying in a rented home in North Carolina in the middle of a field. He was clearly hammered, but I put up my dukes, and just then my wife called the cops, and he was arrested. Does not seem so scary now, but it was back then.
What the? That's a real story. What was the guy's name again? I love a good first and last name on a rando.
Bruce.
Larry Michaels? Larry Michaels was under his bed?
You're getting the delete on this one, man.
Come on. Don't leave the living legend, Heartbreak Larry Michaels, to lay under the bed and not put your dukes up and give him a couple.
Oh, man. He's out of here.
Give him an old one-two-ski.
Unbelievable. Hey.
Luckily, the big boss man came and arrested him and took him to jail.
Well, that was one of the stupidest emails. Is Larry Michaels?
That was a great email. Larry Michaels, that's a great email. I love the email. Who sent the email?
Who's Larry Michaels?
The guy who was under the bed.
Oh.
Let me look up if Larry Michaels was a criminal in North Carolina. I'm sure there's a Larry.
That'd be pretty funny if it was, yeah.
There's definitely a Larry Michaels who committed a crime in North Carolina.
The emailer was Bruce Zimmerman. I know Emilio wants us to talk about Netflix on WWE on Netflix, but we're going to talk about some more cryptids and answer more emails. So,
Larry Michaels is facing allegations of unauthorized trading. I don't think it's the same Larry Michaels.
let's not put that out there before we end up somewhere we shouldn't be, because XRP is going to take us to the moon as soon as XRP hits $5.
It's so bad.
Guys, I'm going to say this right here live on the air, live on the podcast.
I'm not only a cryptozoologist, I'm a crypto wizard. What?
If XRP hits $5, you might not ever hear from me again.
I like that. I'll be with you.
Good evening, good brothers. Like the big LG, I'm also very. Oh, this is perfect. I didn't even mean to say that. This is the crypto cryptid is the subject.
Yeah.
Like the big LG, I'm also a very big fan and very big on XRP. I didn't even read that before I said that. And the potential
call
future.
Myself the crypto cryptid from now on. Please continue. Sorry.
And the potential future of what's to come. I was lucky enough to hop on board the crypto train, and in particular, XRP back in mid-2017.
Oh, man.
And I've held on for dear life through the highs and the lows of the past 7 years. I have a big problem with selling. I don't hate that.
No.
I'm not sure if Gallows has stumbled across this in his XRP research, but there's a mythical digital creature, a crypto cryptid, if you will, called the Bearable Guy 123. Over the last 7 to 8 years, he, she, or them have been providing XRP community with breadcrumbs to follow of what's to come for the greatest digital asset of all time, XRP. So at Bearable Guy, we need to look this up, BearableGuy 123. I highly recommend you do a deep dive, and yes, today, into his Reddit history and his online cryptid messages and posts on X.
Bearable Guy 123, right?
Yep. All signs point to it being someone on the inside that knows quite a fair bit of what's to come for XRP and releases this information to us all via the form of cryptography, images, and posts. Wow.
Yeah, but this guy only tweets like once a year.
Well, that's what it is, man. Maybe thanks again for
maybe that's
a smart thing. Thanks for the many years of talking shop. I've been quite a fan for quite some time, and always good to hear the good brothers popping themselves and in turn popping each and every one of us each and every week. Keep up the good work, good brothers. Get well soon, Machine Gun. From a fan in Melbourne, Australia. We got a lot of Australia fans, man. So I don't want to mispronounce this name, but first name Con, C-O-N, last name Tsiolis, Tsiolis.
There you go.
So everyone look up Bearable Guy 123.
I'm looking at the Bearable Guy. He last tweeted on Christmas Eve, 2024, just this past Christmas Eve. Yahal, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year 2025. And it's an animated image of what appears to be the Bearable Guy in his animated form. That says also his profile picture. And him and a knight and another horse, it looks like it's a treasure box on his back, are riding toward a castle on the water that has 3 paths: gold, purple, and green. There's a big ship with gold, purple, and green. I mean, this is obviously symbolism, but I'm going to have to
this is maybe worth taking a little
but here's the thing. I mean, the Bearable Guy has tweeted Christmas Eve 2023, May 20th, 2024, and then Christmas Eve 2024. So that's 3 tweets over 365 days. Interesting.
Maybe we need a deep dive, especially since this guy's been in XRP since 2017. That's nuts because we just found it at 55 cents.
52. We found it
52 cents, and now it's at what, 230 or whatever it is now.
It doesn't matter what it is today, bud. You know that.
It doesn't matter. But
I didn't tell you this yet, but I've been dying to tell you. This is the perfect time to tell you because
perfect. Not? Bring it on.
XRP is at $2.37 right now, currently in Coinbase. So my dad, who's a listener to the podcast, and
hello, Dale,
loves to talk about all things investing like we do, was telling me that my dad has a construction and contracting business and all that. He was doing a bid somewhere, and he knows a guy, an older guy who's been like a town maintenance guy and done a bunch of, I don't know how they know each other. Anyway, the point of the story is this guy told him, they got talking about crypto, and he had said that, we're into crypto now and all this. This guy started buying Bitcoin at $260.
And did he continue buying it?
He sold when he doubled his profit.
There you go.
And I mean, isn't that crazy? And I said, did he stay?
You hear those kinds of
he said he's done well because he didn't quite sell all of it. But I mean, if he would have just held on for, I mean, at $260, I mean, think about it. It's $100,000 right now, or right under it. If he would have grabbed, a couple grand worth of those things.
I mean, you hear those kinds of stories all the time. It's just, and nowadays you have no excuse. You can research all by yourself.
But think about it. When he bought it at $260, there was internet in 2010 or whatever, but nobody knew what it was. And for years, and even to right now, as it's about to really pop, we think.
Yeah,
people are still like, well, I don't know what that is. I have that conversation all the time. I go, well, it doesn't matter. But he didn't have any clue because then my dad goes, well, I might have probably sold it too once I doubled my money. Well, yeah, that's how an investment normally works. This is just a different kind of investment. This is not financial advice. We're not financial advisors.
I'm going to say this though. Usually people might get checked out because we're not preaching anything. We're not selling anything.
No.
All we want is people to just look into investing. Anything that you want to do. If I wish I would have done it 15 years ago. I just started hard this year, just this year. and I've done well. But my point is you can just do it. Just do it. Don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of it. Just do it. Because if I can do it, if guys like us can do it,
you can do it.
If a guy like me cannot drink for a whole year, if a guy like me can have an 8-pack, trust me,
I love it.
The world is everyone's oyster. This is from Jacob, Time Machine Booking. Hey, fellas, Jake Davis here. If you could travel back in time,
the other machine. This is Jake the Machine Davis, our buddy.
If you could travel back in time to the late 80s tag team scene when the NWA had teams like the Road Warriors, Arn and Tully, the Samoan SWAT team, the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, the Steiners, Doom, etc., as well on the flip side in WWF, WWE with teams like Demolition, Heart Foundation, the Rockers, Powers of Pain, the British Bulldogs, the Twin Towers, Strike Force, the Islanders, etc. Hypothetically, which company would you have preferred to be in during that era? Would love to hear some fantasy booking with the Good Brothers being dropped into the middle of the golden age of tag team wrestling. Keep killing it, boys. Best of luck on the continued rehab, Machine Gun. Take care, brothers. Great email.
It's a great wrestling question. And, he said to me, we're obviously personal buddies for years, that he wanted to ask a question like that. And when I was thinking about it and not really thinking about the podcast, at first I thought, man, we definitely want to be dropped right into the middle of the NWA and wrestle all those amazing teams through the Carolinas and Georgia and the South. But then I thought of the brothers that we are and have become. And then I thought we'd probably be such psychos. And it was so big at that time, like it is now. We'd want to be on that WWF tour, jet setting from LA to New York and being in all the huge markets. So, I mean, really, we'd want to do both. It's a broad, not great answer, but I think we would have probably jumped to New York so that we could be in all those big sold out arenas and stuff. Personally.
I think when I hear those names, it brings back awesome memories and thoughts. And I remember I was 5 years old and we had tickets for the Omni in Atlanta. And my dad said, you got to take a nap because we're going to see the Road Warriors tonight. And if you don't take a nap, you're not going to be able to see the Road Warriors. And I thought, I got to take a nap because I got to see the Road Warriors.
Yeah.
100%. Seeing the Road Warriors was the most amazing, seeing them live. There's nothing like it. Yeah. The thought of seeing Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard live, it takes me right to it. The Rock and Roll Express.
We would have loved to have wrestled Arn. It'd been great.
Dude, and the Midnight Express, there was nothing 100%. Cooler than the Midnight Express. It was the greatest bad guy tag team of all time. And I grew up that's where I grew up in North Carolina, where that was always on TV, those NWA guys. But then I would flip on WWF and then Demolition would walk out and they looked axe and smash and they brought in Crush.
Such cool big stars. Yeah, it was amazing.
Dude, in the Hart Foundation, Jim the Anvil Neidhart looked so cool with his goatee, and Bret Hart was obviously the legend he is.
Yeah, the Rockers. It's unreal when you start thinking about it. But man, there's so many cool ones that like imagine us but you take that era and you can put it anywhere. Imagine having a match in the Tokyo Dome with Steiner Brothers. That'd be badass too in that time period. There was so much cool shit going on then. We would have tried to go everywhere. I know we would have, just because we're us.
So I could see
have to try all of it.
I could see if you can take just throw us back to 1986. The Good Brothers.
We start in the NWA
in their Bullet Club gear. Say we're in black and white gear. We're walking out. LG's got his face painted. I'm throwing stuff at fans. The security's holding fans back from getting to us.
I love it.
LG's walking through the crowd, throwing kicks. He's 6'8", walking through. The people in North Carolina are running away. They're scared to death of this big
best time ever. Still great wrestling fans.
And then the Rock and Roll Express music hits. They come to the ring. We get heat on Ricky Morton because he can sell it.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then Robert Gibson comes on.
Start feeding Robert a comeback,
and we start feeding Robert a comeback. And then, of course, we hit Ricky Morton with the Magic Killer. But
we like that so much. We like that so much and like that so much that I booked us and we sold out the gym in South Georgia wrestling the Rock and Roll Express in 2022. And here we are talking about 1985, 1986. That's how much when you truly are in tune with what you came up on and how much you love it. And we had a good, fun match and had them rock. And that was a great night. We went out there and they wanted to cheer for us. and we immediately turned into 80s bad guys, and it felt like 1980. And that building I have down there, my son goes, Dad, this looks just like Smoky Mountain. And I was like, it felt just like Smoky Mountain. It was cool.
Well, and again, I think we just thought, well, we'll come out, we'll be the bad guys, the Rock and Roll Express will be the good guys. That's easy.
That's easy.
And then I think we always kind of take it for granted that we take for granted how famous we are. All right,
that's right. That's right.
Wrestling famous. Okay, I mean, listen, I was on a cruise ship for 4 days. You don't think 100 people didn't recognize Karl Anderson? Give me a break here.
I was picturing you walking around on that cruise in a hoodie the entire time.
I had a hoodie and glasses on, and people still knew who I was. But that's great, though. That means that we're still doing something properly.
It means we're doing something right. So
I don't think we've been on TV for a while.
Jake the Machine Davis also has a podcast, has his own wrestling promotion in the Mid-Atlantic. Elite Pro Wrestling, Losers and Learners podcast. Our good buddy, Jake the Machine Davis. Great question. Great email.
So my 6-year-old has long hair.
Yes.
He said, Dad, he still talks like a kid, like a small young kid.
Yeah, sure.
He goes, Dad, I'm so angry. He's like, Dad, keep calling. They say I look like a girl because of my hair, and I get so angry. I said, come here. I told my wife to come on over here. I said,
they're all going to regret saying that.
Beautiful. I said, show him a picture of who we were talking about. And she goes, look at this. Look how cool this guy is, right? So she pulls up a picture of Roman, and we tell him, we go, you know who has long hair? Roman Reigns has long hair, and Maui from Moana has long hair, and Cash. And you know how cool you look? And he goes, yeah,
that's awesome. I want it.
And he's true. Now he talks about it. He goes, and now, just because of how his age and where we've been in the last couple of years, he doesn't watch wrestling as much as my other ones did at that time. So they don't. Right. He has just been introduced to Roman Reigns.
Figuring out who, totally.
Now he's figuring out who he is because my mother boys have pictures with him and hug him and everything, Right. Hey, this is email from Sterling Pindry.
Sterling Pindry sent an email. Great.
The subject is Savage Crush Summit. Good brothers, what's happening? I'm getting my cardio in, watching the '93 Survivor Series main event, the Foreign Fanatics versus the All-Americans. And I was just wondering, is today the day for a deep dive on the Savage Crush Summit? If it isn't, can we get a couple of bars of Daddy Was a Fall Down Man? Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Can I get a too sweet in the new year? Love to the good brothers. Come here, Cashy. Come here, Cash. Come here, Cash. I was just talking about you, and I was talking about how
Look at that cool hair.
How Mommy showed you a picture of who had long hair, just like you. Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And the first one is Maui.
Two of the coolest dudes I know.
And the last one is Aquaman.
You hear that? The last one is Aquaman.
I mean, those are three badass dudes. You got to be honest with them.
Roman Reigns, Aquaman,
and Maui,
and Little Cashy.
I love it.
It doesn't get better than that. So, do you know the '93 Survivor Series main event, the Foreign Fanatics versus the All-Americans?
Well, see, I've talked about this a little bit when we were deep diving on stuff from when we were kids, but like one of the first heel turns that I saw and bought and couldn't believe was when Crush came back from being hurt, and him and Randy Savage had been friends, and they're going to have this summit, and they go to make up. And I remember Crush, because at the time when you're a kid and you're 9, every detail is unreal to you. And it was really weird to me because like Crush didn't have his tights on. He was wearing like jeans and a leather coat, and he grew a goatee. And I thought, well, why does he have a goatee? He doesn't look as much like Crush. Yeah. And they do this thing, and they shaka bra, and they're hugging the Macho Man and Crush. I forget exactly why they were friends, but it was the first time I ever saw the heel turn, and it sucked me all the way. And Crush raises Macho Man's hand. They go around, they show the people, and then he pulls him right in for a short arm clothesline.
You like that?
He starts beating the hell out of him, and he took him outside. I'll never forget it. And he does like where you slam the guy but drop him over the guardrail. And Savage does this big, big sell, and he's laying there. And then there's blood coming out of his mouth. And then they come on Superstars the next week and say that the Macho Man's out because he's a lacerated tongue. And then I go and ask my parents and my family what a laceration is. Now, worried that the Macho Man has a hole in his tongue, and Crush did it. And then Crush comes out and he's got face paint on and he's wearing purple and black and he's not a good guy anymore. I was beside myself.
Wow.
I went to the King of the Ring 94 and I remember Crush coming out and just going, this son of a bitch, Dad. Like, what? This guy needs to get out of here. Terrible.
Wow. You could really do a deep dive on that era of WWF for sure.
That was like my first year, like hooked when I was like about 9. I was just, man, I believed anything they said. Anything.
See, that's
I'm
when
like,
I was.
Max, they go, here comes Max Moon. He's from the moon. I go, well, of course he is.
Well, I
wonder where he parks his spaceship.
Well, see, that's when I was didn't get WWF as often, right? So I wasn't able to see it except when I would go to Detroit and my uncle would have it on tapes. And then I think it came on maybe 12 p.m. noon on Sundays for just an hour, just a bunch of job matches.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it and just seeing the colorfulness and how cool it was. But my uncle sent me a Survivor Series tape, a VCR.
Oh, okay. Uncle Ken?
Uncle Ken.
Oh, wow.
And he sent the one where it was Dusty Rhodes and his crew, Survivor Series versus the Big Boss Man and his crew.
Yeah. That's a classic Survivor Series. See, that was like, I was like 5 then, probably 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So I didn't see those until like, I was 10 or something, and you could go to the video store and you could rent the old wrestling pay-per-views. And like WWF was great about having these colorful pictures on the front. So if I didn't know who the guys were from 5 or 10 years ago, I gotta see these guys and learn what they do.
And I just remember seeing like the Big Boss Man hit his Boss Man slam.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. And it would be 1, 2, 3, and he pins the guy, right? And it's like, wow, that was badass. But now that I've been in the business so long and I've seen and I know that how wrestlers are, I wonder if any of them were like, come on, man, that quick?
Come on, man. Can I blow a little comeback on you, brother?
I mean, come on. But I wonder if it was different. Like, no, you can't. This is
no,
it.
You can't. This is Boss Man's gonna hit the Boss Man slam. That's
it sure is different because it sure ain't like that now. Hey, do you want to sing some of the Fall Down Man?
Sure, of course.
I don't even remember it.
Let me get back there.
We'll deep dive on that some other time.
Yep.
Salvador Saldona, our good friend here. A couple more.
Oh, there's a good friend of ours.
He's a big fan, good friend of the boys.
That's right.
Salvador, what's up, boys? Salutations from one of your old Patreon homies. I know the audience wants to hear about the highest civilian bar tab in Talking Shop history, but we can do a deep dive into that on another day. I wanted to see if I can get over and get a little shout out for my birthday. Ooh, we're a little late there, Sal. Sorry. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, belated, Sal. We love you, brother.
Turning 37 this year and feeling good. I had my own repentance. I somewhat put the tequila bottle down and picked up the barbell, getting the good old brother pump back.
Baby, I love it.
I'm down 10 pounds and my hot Latina wife is just loving it.
I bet she is.
Anywho, I got a ghost story for you. About 17 years ago, my best friend Tank and I were attending his great-grandma's funeral.
It makes sense. His best friend's name's Tank. Sorry, Tank.
My best friend, unfortunately, had a funeral to attend the week before for a kid we knew in high school.
Damn.
I knew who he was, and I remember seeing a post on MySpace about his passing. In the picture, he was wearing a white T-shirt and an Oakland A's hat. Now, fast forward a week later, my boy and I were standing outside the funeral home having a conversation, and we just so happened to stop talking. And at the same exact moment, we both look up the third-story window, and for a split second, I swear I saw the kid who just passed looking out the window in his white T-shirt and his A's hat on.
Wow.
We both looked at each other in shock and freaked out. We both didn't say what we saw until later that night at a party we went to. We told our friends about what we saw individually. And at the end of the night, we got more weirded out by having the exact same visual of that kid in his white T-shirt and Oakland A's hat. I'm not much of a believer, but damn, to this day, it still gives me the creeps.
I mean, you can not be a believer, but that's got to make you think something. Holy shit.
And we still bring that up to this day that we saw his ghost. I hope your families are doing well, and I catch you boys when you guys come to Sacramento. Merry or repented Christmas. Wow. He said
hell of a story, brother Sal. Thanks, buddy.
I'll have the team forward this to you. He's got a bunch of pictures from our Baltimore talking shop.
Please get the team do that, man. That's
good
stuff.
We appreciate Sal. That was one of the greatest bar tab. I think he had a pretty high bar tab.
Even for us when we were in our heyday, it was still a very high bar tab. He worked a kid in Memphis that was green as goose shit, but it's a one bump comeback.
Or did you forget? Hey, that's a scary
grizzled young vet. He's a grizzled young vet. Oh, he wanted Daddy Was a Fall Down Man.
Yeah, do we forget what Daddy Was a Fall Down Man even goes?
Daddy was a fall down man.
That's a great story. It's scary too for a ghost. So I'm not a big believer of ghosts.
I don't know how I'd feel about that one.
But how do you not do that one? Hey, subject is random investing talk. We only talk about money. Morning, good brothers. Money. I've been dabbling with investing since May of 2020. I took some of the pandemic stimulus money and opened up a Charles Schwab. Since then, I've had some wins. Kodak, Eastman, and DraftKings. Right now, my big ones are Reddit and Peloton, the latter of which I can see bouncing back. Have either of you had any fun stocks that you invested in, i.e. products you use or enjoy and felt like tossing some money at? Yours, Hootley, Merry Hootmas, and Happy Hoot Days. Jordan. Well, I think we've talked about my accidental United Airlines purchase that I've just fell in love with.
Great pick.
I'm not a trader where I want to like buy and sell because you're going to be paying capital taxes on things if you're selling before a year. And I'm trying to figure all that stuff out. So I'm holding on to United Airlines, and I believe it's at like 100 or 101 today. I bought it at 58.
58. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what, you made a great pick because I was betting on some airlines, and I didn't bet as big as you did on that one when you accidentally did it, but I got a notification today about, the furthering of Spirit Airlines Chapter 11-ness from Charles Schwab. So that was not a great pick.
Well, you never know if it does some insane bounce back.
Maybe it'll rise from the ashes.
I think what we've learned in the very short time that we've decided to dabble in this, I believe we've added like 5 years. I think if we've only been really looking into it for a year. Yeah. We've really been looking into it for like the amount of 5 years, how much time we've put into it.
How much time we spent on it.
Because it's almost like every day, all day, kind of all we think about.
We talk about it to each other all day. But
I would just suggest for anybody to just look at the ETFs and the VOOs and the S&P 500s.
QQQ, S&P.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett, the greatest investor of all time, arguably. What's his? It's Coke, right?
Yeah,
he likes Coke, so he just continuously bought Coke, and he won on it. Like stuff like that, I didn't look at it today or even in the last week, but like I remember Nike dipped, and I bought Nike because Nike's going to be Nike.
It's going to be
today. Nike. The big everybody was talking about how everything's turning robotic, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, that's going to happen. But all these analysts were saying, well, this is why Amazon's a buy again. So I use Amazon all the time because I don't like going to the store. So I bought some Amazon today.
Yeah, and if you love it, you're going to do it. And I think
Amazon ain't going away. Nike ain't going away. Coke ain't going away.
No, and just most importantly, again, don't sit and drive yourself crazy and be worried about doing this. Just research it and then just do it. Because the second you do it, you're going to feel so much better. And the amount of people I've talked to that are my age and older that haven't done it or don't do it at all, it makes me feel. I want to like, come on.
Yeah, you kind of.
Then I feel like I'm selling them on it. I'm like, I'm not selling it. I'm not selling anything. I'm not trying. Yeah. I'm not trying to get you to buy.
Trust me, I don't get anything if you buy some Bitcoin.
Listen, I feel like now I'm almost like I work for Bitcoin or I work for United Airlines. I work for.
Your name's Chad Saylor. You're Michael Saylor's little son.
Yeah, come on, man. Bitcoin's about to fly up. Thank you for that email. Hey, shoulder surgery is the subject from Brent Morrison. Hey, Hoots.
Hello, Brent.
Machine gun. I was going to let you know the reason they won't let you move your arm. But the physical therapist or physical terrorists stretches it is due to the type of movement. If you move it, you are to get active contraction of muscles. In your case, if you actively contract your substernatitis tendon, it could loosen it. When the PT moves it, it's massive and you aren't getting active contraction. So it maintains the integrity of the repair. It just hit me. I was born too late. I could have had good run in the 80s WWF as a heel, the physical terrorist.
All right, that got me.
Happy holidays, Brent Morrison, PT, the physical therapist or the physical terrorist, depending on the patient.
You sneaky son of a.
Very, very, very good. Thank you. I appreciate that. That helps because it is. I wonder at times, like, what the heck's going on here? This is a great one from Robert Simon.
Hello, Robert.
Need to run these. We need to run these questions up the pole, says Robert.
Yep, run them up the pole.
Since we'll never get a deep dive today or ever any day.
Hey, come on. It's a new year.
Can I get answers to these questions before Karl turns back into a DIC? Is Uncle Alan still a huge, huge Democrat? Has anyone seen the Nature Hoot? And is he still hosting parties at the Atlanta Marriott? Since Mr. Yamamoto runs 2 wrestling companies and is an alleged Bitcoin millionaire because he finally sold the collection of used sobs from the money he stole from the Talking Chop movie in Japan. Can we get an update on how Gallows feels about hotel rooms and rental cars? Can we possibly get an episode like the episodes of the past where we have a roast of Gallows? Since I have rambled on like a Talking Shop episode from the bygone eras, aka a couple of wadkas. Thanks for answering any of these questions before Karl turns back into a dick, aka Scrooge counting his millions and dreaming about XRP billions of future. Wow, that was great.
There's too much to cover there.
Robert Simon, aka Mongo from Blazing Saddles fame.
Oh, that's great. What a great email. What a great fan. I love it. I forget every question he asked, but it was awesome.
I don't think any of those questions were real questions. They were all asked.
Of course they were.
They were all asked in jest.
In vain.
Yeah, in vain. In vain.
That was a great email, though.
When is it LG's turn to read so I'm totally proper with grammar and don't trigger the big man temper? This is from Sean. Hey there, Dark Match Goldberg and the most underrated gaijin and best reader ever. First, get well soon, Machine Gun. I made the decision to go sober early this year after getting out of a relationship with an alcoholic.
That'll do it.
Deep dive, just not today. You know the drill. So listening to you share has been helpful since I've had some of those moments too, like waking up in the morning and not hating myself. Man, it feels great. Or just being in a weird headspace because no more substances. I'm too much of an arrogant prick to go to therapy. So this is close enough listening to the boys. And I appreciate you being so open with your journey. I ended up using LaCroix, which is the
LaCroix, the sparkling flavored waters,
as my replacement beverage. But how did you come to Zevia? Wait, more importantly, in your new headspace, have you changed your mind about writing a book? Not necessarily a biography, just in case Talking Shopomania 3 has to be a novel, a written novel, not the other type. Question 2, can we please get more stories about the Stone Pitbull? Or can you guys get him on Talking Shop? Ishii is.
We need Ishii on Talking Shop.
Ishii is hands down my favorite Japanese wrestler, but the only other time I remember y'all talking about him on the pod was Karl having to work Ishii after a rough sponsor dinner.
That did happen, but we have a lot of other Ishii memories.
Question 3, and this goes back to sobriety. Actually, screw it. Cryptid time. You guys might have to ask Drew McIntyre more about this one. I might run into King Otter in North Alabama. So funny enough, you can sometimes see river otters in Alabama, and otters in general are pretty chill animals. Right. One time on a deer hunting trip, me and my buddy saw some roadkill on the way out to the cabin. But since I was driving and saw it was an otter, I had to take a moment to stop and be sad about it. It looked like the poor boy had actually been attacked by coyotes instead of hit by a car. The dog with us instantly expressed concern with stopping, which was weird because normally you had to keep him, a chocolate lab, from trying to eat any animal he could find.
Right.
I threw a rock into the woods to see if maybe something was lurking. Nothing flushed out. My buddy and I heard what could be best described as a barking hiss.
Ooh.
We both said, well, let's not find out what this is, and went back to driving. Fast forward to the nighttime around 7 p.m. We're at the cabin with another friend and his dog. As the sun sets, the coyotes normally start wandering through the area, and the dogs go to edge of the porch to stare at them and bark a little, which was a nightly occurrence. What got our attention then was when they stopped barking. Normally, we could watch the coyotes walk from east to west near the fence line about 200 feet from the cabin, and they would periodically stop and stare at us and dogs as they moved along. Instead, we saw all the coyotes stop, look back to the east, go on alert, then haul ass to the west.
Wow.
Of course, we kept watching the east to see what was up.
Yeah.
In the lowish light, we could make out a long, dark shape moving very low fast on the ground like an otter does.
Ooh.
It was about 2 coyotes long, and we were too far from any water for it to be a gator. The dogs jumped back inside the house and started whining like earlier. We made a decision to go inside too because when we stood up, whatever it was that noticed us, it put its little head up and made the same barking hiss we'd heard earlier. When it seemed satisfied we were inside, it put its head back down and sprinted in the direction of the coyotes. We asked our neighbor in the next parcel over if he saw or heard anything. He said no, but then sent an email a couple of days later about his trail camera footage. He said that it looked like every animal in the area was bolting away from our property that night. Thanks to the internet and searching, quote, giant demon otter, unquote, my friends and I decided we saw a king otter. And since you guys have repented, I know you won't accuse me of having a fake name. Yours truly, Fernando Guzman. How is the Dark Match Goldberg doing? That was a great email, a little lengthy. I'll tell you this. I don't love the LaCroix sparkling waters. Why? I don't know. Something about them have like a funny kind of aftertaste. I've felt like the Mountain Valley sparkling waters are the best tasting. There's spring water. I don't know if LaCroix is spring or not, and I don't want to say that, say it's not, but the Mountain Valley sparkling waters to me have been the best. I love the Zevias. Let me tell you why I love Zevia. I also stopped drinking Diet Coke now for 7 or 8 months.
It's great.
And so the Zevia, or however you pronounce it, has been a nice way to help me not miss my Diet Coke, which I don't miss the Diet Coke at all. But I've noticed Zevia. If I don't have, I like to have one a day, maybe 2, but I basically just drink sparkling water all day.
The vanilla cola is really on point, but I will tell you this, my friend. The Dabaharchu, which is an Irish pronunciation, or water dog or water hound or king otter, is a creature of Irish and Scottish folklore. It resembles both a dog and an otter, though it sometimes is described as half dog, half fish. It lives in water and has fur with protective properties.
How about that?
There are little to no written records of Dabarchu, since its legend has relied heavily on oral storytelling and tradition.
Interesting.
Very, very interesting. There have been no sightings other than the sighting from our man here. 10 to 15 feet long. Unreal.
LG, do you have an Ishii story?
I mean, my favorite Ishii story is that day you had that massive match and we were on like a 10-man and we stayed out all night with the sponsor. And in the first minute, we thought there was going to be a death because you come right out of the gate with a forearm. And what do? You break his nose.
Oh, no.
His face right
No. That was not a 10-man, my friend.
No. We were at a 10-man.
Oh,
yeah. The rest of the boys, like me and Fale and Tama and whoever. And we were like, damn, Chad has a big singles match. And we weren't seconding you that night. So we're watching it on the monitor and you come across the ring and you break his nose. And then you guys go up to do something. And that's when we learned that you could do an Asahi moonsault for the first time.
Yeah.
But I don't think you intended to do it. Other than that was that time in TNA when we had like just the greatest little dinner ever in America with Ishii. It was a lot of fun.
Did, yeah. Ishii is our buddy. We
like Ishii, yeah.
So in 2008, when I went to Japan, I got put into a group called GBH when this was the leader. The leader was Makabe at this time, getting this big push.
Great bash heel.
And me and Ishii and Homa were basically the fall guys in GBH.
Yeah.
And I realized that Ishii, I found this out in 2008, that Ishii was like one of the last trainees of the very famous Riki Choshu.
Yeah.
The great Choshu-san. And then so I would team up with Ishii a lot on house shows and whatnot. And I would learn a lot from him. I was like, this guy really understands Japanese style. This is crazy. Like,
yeah, one of the best.
And he knows how to sell, and then he doesn't sell sometimes, and people love watching it. Then I remember in Osaka of like 2010 or 11 or 12, whatever. And I watched him have a match with Shibata. And it was like ding, ding, ding. Shibata started and hit him with a big boot. He hit him with a head or a headbutt, big boot, headbutt. And the Osaka crowd is going absolutely just bonkers.
Yeah. Awesome.
I watched him and I watched Ishii versus Goto in Korakuen, where they just clothesline each other about 100 times.
100 times.
Incredible. He knew exactly how to get a Japanese crowd going. It's a little different.
Yeah.
And if you know how to do it, boy, he knows how to do it.
It's also like picking up your refrigerator a little bit.
I mean, oh yeah, you don't want to give him any body slams.
Yeah, not a big body slam guy.
Yeah,
I'm not either.
Let's get one last one in here, Hoot.
Let's do it, baby.
This would be from
the
best one we love, Caleb Joshua.
Caleb Joshua, 2 first names, beautiful.
And we still got a lot of emails to get to. We're to get to those another day.
We'll
Putting the Good Brothers over. Hey, Good Brothers, this is Caleb.
Hey, Caleb.
You guys have answered multiple emails of mine. I just wanted to thank you guys for that. And I'm a good brother for life.
Well, good,
I've listened to every Talking Shop since you guys came back with your podcast. It helps me get through the long work days. I love you guys. I can't wait until you guys are back on TV together. Get well soon, Machine Gun. You guys are one of my favorite tag teams of all time. Thank you.
Love you, CJ. Beautiful email. Caleb Joshua is probably making some other emailers who haven't been read on the air feel a little jealousy. Right
there's a ton out there though. I want to I want to go back to the email before where the guy said he's sober, whatever it is, listening or he drinks the LaCroix. Hey, just keep going. That's what I want you to do. Keep going, baby. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Last email, the boys are back from Charlie. Good morning from London, England.
Good morning, Charlie.
I heard Talking Shop was back. I didn't know it. I found it out, and I have been binge listening to every episode.
Yes.
Can you please ask Gallows to retell the story of Chris Masters, the chicken, and the carousel in Mexico? Keep the brothering going, Good Brothers.
Oh, man.
Is that a deep dive?
That's a deep dive. I mean, did he see that match? If it's the story I'm remembering, we did this.
I feel like you probably talked about it on. You probably talked about it on.
Jesse Hernandez booked a bunch of guys for this big show, and we didn't know what it was. And we got there, and there were like 30,000 people at this outdoor carnival watching wrestling. It was wild, but it was also Mexico. So, like, you'll have like a high flying lucha libre match, then like a weird hardcore match, then like. I think it was a tag. Carlito was in it. Masters was in it. Shelton was in it. But anyway, Masters was posing, and I just did a big lat spread, and I was walking around, and then he started making fun of my lat spread, and then Carlito started making fun of my lat spread, and then we were all doing a lat spread, and then we were it's Mexico. We were doing laps around the ring, lat spreading at each other, and I remember Carlito.
And people were loving it.
They loved it. And then he goes, guys, I love Shakespeare just as much as the next guy, but let's get in the fucking ring and go. and then we got in there and did the match. But it was very easy because of all the lat spreading.
Talking Shop, goodbrothers@gmail.com. Thank you, boys, for the emails. There's a lot more to get to. We're going to get to more, I promise. Going to be a two-parter, all right?
Yeah, there was also a chicken dance in there. I'm starting to come back to me now. We'll deep dive another day.
We'll deep dive in that. Send another email about it. The team will get it to them.
Remind me to some more of the story too. Please.
You got to remember because you probably Gallows probably told it the time when we did Talking Shop at Gallows' house when Chris Masters was there. Probably. And sometimes when you're in a different headspace, you just start telling these stories and remembering everything. And then the next day you kind of
every detail. And then I'm like, I know that it happened in Mexico.
Don't really remember that one anymore, man.
It was also a long time ago now. Anyway,
Hey, catch WWE Raw on Netflix every Monday, SmackDown on USA.
3 hours.
NXT was off the hook. Ethan Page got himself a nice little spot with The Rock last night on the CW.
Producer Emilio loved that. We love that. Great to see.
Talking Shop, Good Brothers on YouTube. Talking Shop on every podcast platform you could possibly find. For the Big LG, for the
Reptile.
For Reptile. Talking Shop, goodbrothers@gmail.com. Send us an email. We'll get to you. And I can promise you here next week, we're going to get to a deep dive about something.
We'll get to it. 37 minutes until I can eat a steak. I'm so pumped.
Oh, enjoy yourself.
Oh, yes, I will.
Yeah. Thank you for the week, boys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Good Brother Coin.